Offshore drilling promotes an unhealthy ocean, as crude oil often ends up back in the ocean as plastic pollution. In Santa Cruz, Plastic Tides, a non-profit, seeks to raise awareness around these issues.
So my organization is Plastic Tides. We combine adventure science to fight plastic pollution with another panel with exhibition. We've been doing this since 2014, so we have a fun and engaging platform to educate people about plastic pollution and solutions to plastic pollution. Today we are fighting new offshore drilling off the coast of California and basically tying it to plastic pollution. Take oil out and basically, use the oil to fuel our cars, or if we make plastic with it, it's going to end up on our beaches either under the form of plastic pollution or oil spills. So that's what we're doing today.
Offshore oil drilling is just a disaster waiting to happen. You've seen what's happened in other places around the U.S. With oil drilling. The interesting thing is Save Our Shores here in Santa Cruz was founded 40 years ago this year to oppose offshore oil drilling, and now 40 years later we're still talking about it, or we're talking about it again. And it will have a dramatic impact obviously on the marine life, but also on the economy, because an unhealthy ocean means that beach communities can't thrive. Everything's interconnected. So you have, when pesticides run off into the ocean, that can contaminate the sea life that we eat. There's an incredible amount of plastic in the ocean right now and constantly running off into the ocean. When sea life eats those tiny nurdles, those little pieces of plastic, fibers, things like that, that winds up back into the seafood that we consume, which ultimately is bad for our health as well. So it's an economic issue, it's a health issue, it's an environmental issue. It's all interconnected, and we've got to do more to save the ocean.
All right, checking in from the water just off Capitolas.
Well, this is why they call it a kelp forest. We made it! It's pretty cold. We're at Carmel Beach, and pretty sure this is tar. I've been studying plants since I was about 11 years old. I was cured by herbalism from an immune deficiency, and so it opened my eyes to plants at a very young age. And through my studies, I wanted to figure out how we could feed the world most sustainably, and I developed a true passion for agroforestry, which is a way of farming where you sort of mimic the natural forest ecosystem. And it's really important to me because it feeds people, and we are, the population is growing on this planet, and we need to feed people. and we need to feed them sustainably so we don't deplete our natural resources, soil and water and nitrogen. And so by mimicking the natural forest ecosystem and designing a complex agricultural system with perennial crops that have really, really long roots and that stay in the ground, we can sort of take carbon from the atmosphere and put it underground, whilst providing food and habitat for wildlife.
The very first step is awareness, to pay attention to what it is that we're using. And I go through this too. I know there's people that are like, I'm never going to use any plastic, and actually as we're moving along, it's just becoming harder and harder. More things are getting into plastic because it is so convenient and it's so easy and it's so cheap. And really the first thing that you can do is just be aware of it and say, wow, I used this much plastic today. What can I do to reduce that? And bring your own bags to the grocery store. When you see them along the street, especially when I'm running along the coast, it's like 5 feet from going into the ocean. Pick it up and make sure that it's going into the right place. And those are like the first easiest steps.
I think the most important thing that I would like people to be educated about is the fact that plastic comes from oil. And that very simple concept, not a lot of people know that or understand that. And when you think about how oil is made, it takes millions and millions of years to be created under the Earth's surface, and it's decayed algae and plant matter. And so over millions of years, oil is made, and then we extract it, and it takes so much oil to then ship that around the world to be made into a plastic water bottle that we drink water out of, and then we throw it away. And then it takes however long a plastic water bottle takes to go away, and it probably ends up in the oceans, right? And so if you understand how oil is made and how precious it is and how it can really benefit our society, right? It's not a bad thing. People make oil to be a bad thing. What's bad is the way that it's being used in such a throwaway society. So I think it really all starts with the individual. We shouldn't be making people feel bad for not being sustainable, because we're all in it together, and we should all be encouraging people to adopt more sustainable practices.